Welcome to the Modern Basketball Podcast, also known as M.O.B Podcast, episode 58. I am Evan.
And I'm Ja.
And this is our basketball podcast where we recap, break down, and analyze players and teams from the previous games from the previous day. How are you? Start of the weekday? Start of the week, Ja?
Well, unfortunately, you see where I'm at now.
Yeah, not in the bathroom.
Stop. You see, I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah.
Hey, you're actually in the living area, in the living space. So yeah, I guess you moved up.
Yeah, it's not to tell you, but hey, it was good. It was a good time. It was good times while it lasted. I'll just say that.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Start of the week, as I said, I hope everyone's having a good day. I hope everyone will have a good day. A lot to discuss from last night's basketball. So let's get to it. First, starting off with the man's team right behind me, Pelicans facing off against the Celtics, and it didn't start off well for that guy that was behind me. The Pelicans got off to a rough start. Zion was struggling early, especially in that first half, really couldn't get himself going. The Celtics, on the other hand, had no problems. Easy buckets from them. Tatum had it going. Kemba got off to a hot start. And they was up double digits at halftime.
Yes, they were.
And in that third quarter, they was up 24. So it didn't just stop at halftime. They continued that in the third quarter. And they had a 20-point lead throughout.
Yeah.
Then towards the end of that third quarter, you can see something started brewing in New Orleans, by the way. I guess they started hustling more, started having more energy. Zion got more in rhythm.
The Pelicans playing defense? Oh man, I think this is probably the only time. But go ahead, finish.
I was wondering, I was like, what? But yeah, Zion got into rhythm. And he really took more of the scoring load because VI needed help.
Yeah.
Josh Hart was doing everything in terms of hustling, all the dirty work that they needed for the Pelicans. JJ Redick got ejected for a stupid reason.
Yeah, he should never got ejected for that. That was upsetting.
Roll the footage. Like that, all he did was just toss the ball to the referee, and the referee got in his feelings and said he's out of here.
I swear these refs are soft, just like how the league is kind of soft because of all these calls.
Soft like Charmin. That's what Kobe said. But anyway, that did not stop the Pelicans from going on their run. They played defense. They played hard. They out-hustled the Celtics, had more intensity than the Celtics, out-muscled the Celtics. And next thing you know, they within single digits.
Yeah.
Off the strength of Zion, off of the strength of BI, off the strength of Lonzo and Josh Hart. And the Celtics really were struggling offensively. Kemba started struggling. Jaylen Brown was struggling.
The whole game.
What?
He was struggling for majority of the game.
Yeah, and the only man that was really had it going for the Celtics was Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of offensively. Robert Williams helped them a lot, by the way. And he was big time for them, especially on the defensive side when they needed him.
Yeah.
But back to the Pelicans. After being down 24, they found themselves within reach. Next thing you know, I think a three-pointer by, what was it?
I think it was
Ingram?
Ingram. I think he was on the one of the left wings right there.
This is to tie it.
Yeah, this tie. I think it was either the corner or the left wing. It was one or the other. It was either the right corner or the left wing. But he made a shot from one of those areas.
Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, they tie the game. Then they take the lead.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jason Tatum with a tough clutch jumper on Josh Hart. Then Zion bully ball Tristan Thompson, who's like 6'10", 200, like 80, 70, 60 pounds or whatever. Just made him like a little boy, out muscled him, and one to take the lead. with a few seconds remaining. But then Tatum, the tough runner, going into the paint, running on his left, shooting the ball on his right. Josh Hart in his face.
Yeah.
Tough shot to tie the game. And so that bucket sent it to overtime. In overtime, it was a battle.
Mhm.
Tatum hitting big buckets. Brown hit a big layup.
He got fouled at the 3.
Yeah, and he got fouled at 3. Jaylen Brown, you talking about, right?
Yeah, Brown.
Yeah.
He got fouled at the 3.
Um, but that did not stop the Pelicans. They had the lead actually for a lot of the overtime, whether I was just a 1 point lead, but they had that lead. And in a tie game, Zion had the ball at the top of the key, going into the paint, to shit out to Brandon Ingram, who was wide open because Jaylen Brown had to help on Zion. Brandon Ingram hits the 3-pointer to give the Pelicans the lead. They get stops on the Celtics. And as a result, the Pelicans completing a 24-point comeback against the Celtics team. And by the way, there was fans in the arena. And man, that as a fan, watching it at home, that makes just so much of a better viewing experience. I miss the fans.
Yeah.
I really do. And you can hear the chants and you can hear how loud they were getting back into the game. The Pelicans, and I think that really fueled them.
Yeah. Yeah. And they was also booing the ref for what they did to JJ. So yeah, that adds a little cherry on top.
Yeah.
But just like what you said, you gave a pretty much eloquent, detailed description of majority of how the game went down the wire. And let's just say, like, at this point, the Celtics deserve to lose this game. I don't know how you are up that big and you can't maintain the lead. How you just give up at that last moment a little bit right there. Don't get me wrong, Tatum didn't give up, and y'all still had heart to continue to fight, but that shot never happened. You're up by 24 going into halftime, and well, not going into halftime, but like down in the third quarter, in which like the third quarter is always the most important quarter usually. And it's just like you squander it so quickly. They were cold offensively in the fourth quarter. Couldn't get a shot, struggled. The only person who truly got a shot was, of course, Tatum. Outside of that, majority of the team really struggled to get buckets down that stretch. And just good job by the Pelicans. Surprisingly, again, defense. I'm shocked I'm even putting that in association with them, but yeah, they manned up defensively, especially Lonzo, Josh Hart, playing with a lot of heart, intensity, energy, fighting on the boards and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Great job by Josh Hart on his assignment with Tatum. He did the best that he can and he lived up. But just overall, just embarrassment by the Celtics at this point from that point on.
Yeah, the Celtics have been struggling a lot recently in terms of like the past 10 games. They need to figure it out because they're dropping in the standings, as I will get to later on. But yeah, it's not looking good for the team in Boston right now. They need to figure out something.
Tom Brady leaves, and now B Town goes.
Yeah, they might need to make maybe a trade deadline trade, or do you think they should stick with this team and just try to figure it out?
Well, you can clearly see that Marcus Smart not being there is clearly hurting them, and we
Yeah.
don't. And of course, we don't know. I don't remember his timetable of when he's going to be returning.
Well, speaking of that, he did say he's trying to push to return after the All-Star game, after the All-Star break.
Which is a perfect time because that's when most teams even make their stride at that point. So so that's good. But probably they do need a piece. Probably they need somebody. I don't truly know. For me, I feel like they got all the pieces. They got all the pieces defensively. They probably just need somebody to more take that little bit of that other scoring load off of Tatum. Like those three, like Tatum, Brown, and Kemba, when they can't get it going, because I feel like nobody else on this team. Well, of course, out of smart, but he's not playing right now. Like, there's nobody else on this team who you could truly say could create a bucket for their own. And I don't think what's his name? Teague is on the team. Well, or he is on the team, but he hasn't been playing.
I mean, what else do you? I mean, you have Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, and Tatum. The other person who needs to create offense besides those three. That should be more than enough.
I understand that, but also again, say if they're not playing, or if there's like or like they also go into a cold stretch, you're going to need somebody to help rely on too to get you out of that hole. I'm not saying, look, and that's the reason I'm saying it's difficult. We don't know. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm truly not knowing how to side with this at this point. They just need to find a way out. They need to follow their hearts and find a way out.
I think
That's
they
all.
need a paint presence, a better paint presence than what they have going for them. I think Robert Williams is doing good. I
Yeah.
like his play, but I think they need like someone big down there to help them.
Which end? The offensive end or the defensive end though? Because I
Both.
feel like the defensive end, Robert Williams, he clearly showed what he could do. I feel like Tice is a kind of like a difficult situation. I feel like Tristan Thompson is more of a rebounder, of course, but I feel like if he wanted to, he could get it done on the defensive end. But I'm just like offensively, I'm just like you probably need somebody offensively down there.
They should try to get Andre Drummond.
That wouldn't be bad actually.
Literally trade anybody but Brown, Walker, Tatum, and I like Robert Williams. Keep him. Anybody else, you on the block.
Yeah, so you know what that means. Tristan Thompson, you're up out of here. Bye
I would be devastated if he goes back to Cleveland.
bye.
That would be so devastating. But it's a business. What can you
Yeah,
say? Also, I think they're pretty high on Payton Pritchard,
yeah,
so they probably will keep them. But I think they should try to go out and get Andre Drummond.
yeah.
Uh, I mean, that would probably be a hard trade to make, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. But nonetheless, got to give credit to that Pelicans team, coming all the way back. The help of Brandon Ingram with the big shot late, and of course Zion being the main catalyst, getting them back to the game. With supporting cast of Josh Hart, also Willie Gomez, really Herman Gomez was big time for them, stepping in for Steven Adams,
Yeah.
Especially on the rebounding side because they needed that, and he
Mhm.
stepped up. So yeah, uh, disappointing loss by the Celtics team, the struggling Celtics team, but a big win by this Pelicans team in a amazing comeback.
And especially with no Steven Adams to help you on the inside. So that's a good job too. Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. All right. Let's go to the other primetime game of the night, which was the Brooklyn Nets, no KD once again, up against the fully healthy, or it seemed to be, Los Angeles Clippers. We'll get into that later on. Um, this game was a really good game. The stars were out. The stars were out from the jump. Kyrie, James Harden, Kawhi, PG. Big time. I mean, what can you say? These
If
are
you want to talk about
superstars.
if you want to talk about a finals preview between stars, there you go. This was the matchup
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. This might be it. This might be it. The Clippers got out to a lead early. Then the Nets kind of jumped out in front after
Yeah.
that run by the Clippers. It was a back and forth affair in that second quarter. Then in the third quarter, the Nets started to, pick up a little bit of steam with the
Yeah.
Clippers still being within in their grasp. But then towards the end of that third quarter and the start of that fourth quarter,
Yeah.
that's when the Nets kind of like closed that gap. And at that time, they were up 15 at the start of the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But the Clippers, led by Paul George, carried a lot of the scoring load throughout the game.
Mm-hmm.
He let them back into that game, and something weird had happened. This is what I'm going to get into it when I mean the fully healthy Clippers are showing seem to be. So as I said, Paul George and the Clippers had a big run to get back into that game against the Nets. And towards the end of that run, Paul George gets taken out the game,
Yeah.
with like 3 minutes left.
Yeah, 3-4
And,
minutes. Yeah.
yeah, 3-4 minutes left, and that's the last time you see of him for the rest of the game. Didn't seem to be an injury. Uh, Not Mike Green and Jeff Van Gundy said that it might be
Restriction, a minute.
a minute restriction, but in that situation, single digits against Brooklyn Nets
Mm-hmm.
in a close game. Why do that?
Look, I'm going.
Where's the integrity?
Yeah, look it. Just finish off the other part, and then I think
Yeah,
I want to make an explanation
we'll
for
get to it.
why that made no sense, and you got to be more
Hmm.
wild. Go ahead.
And then the Nets after that, um, got up a little more
Mm-hmm.
once they got into the game with Kyrie and Harden,
Yes.
but that still didn't stop the Clippers because led by Kawhi, because Kawhi is on the team. If you didn't
Yeah.
know, um, had another run, and they even tied the game.
Yeah.
They even tied the game, and then it was Kyrie Irving who missed the shot on Beverly, and DeAndre Jordan with the tip in put back, 11 seconds left to give the Nets the lead. And then Kawhi had the ball, looked like he had space, and a questionable offensive foul
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Harden.
Harden, yeah.
Great acting job by Harden. I will say so myself because I don't believe that was a foul, but a great acting job by Harden.
And it makes no sense because Harden does what Kawhi did a little bit on that play too all the time. And yet Kawhi gets caught offensive and James Harden, look, I'm not hating. I'm just being honest. You've seen him do
I'm
that
calling it
before.
how it is.
Yeah, you've seen him do that before, and the call always go his way.
But that wasn't even a. You show the footage. That wasn't even a push off.
It wasn't no push off. No, it was not.
One, Harden was initiating contact because his arm was on Kawhi,
Kawhi, yes.
and Kawhi tried to like move it off, but it wasn't even that aggressive. It
It was
wasn't
just like
even no push off. It was just a great acting job by Harden. What can you say? I would have done the same thing. I
yeah,
can't
but hey, at this
keep me mad at that.
yeah, but hey, at this point, like in the NBA, anything, any little thing could be like a big deal. So like, just like
Yeah, Harden knows that best.
yeah,
He's one of the best in the NBA at drawing fouls. But yet, questionable offensive foul call on Kawhi, and as a result, the Nets beat the Clippers in a tough, close game. Your
yeah.
thoughts?
Yeah, this was again just like what you said earlier. The stars were out, everybody was balling. Good energy from the other guys. I wish Joe Harris had a little bit of a better game, but hey, sometimes it happens like that. It doesn't just always go your way.
Mm.
What's his name? Brown.
Bruce Brown.
Yeah, Bruce Brown on the Nets. He had he was big energy, big time for them. Just doing everything or the little dirty work things that you will want to be what other role players to do on a great team like this.
Yeah.
And let's just say it, there's times where it came in spurts, like, just like what you said, the Clippers were up, then the Nets came back, and then, the Nets had a big run in which I think in the start of the third, they had an 11-0 run in which they looked like they was going to take over the game from there. And then the Clippers came back. It was just all about spurts. But that I just want to pinpoint that specific situation you talk about with Paul George, because it's just like, I don't know how you make that happen. If he's on let's just say of what they said it was with the minutes restriction. If he's on a minutes restriction and you know the kind of game that is going down to be like, and look, sometimes it's hard to be decisive with these things because you just don't truly know how to change the game or the course the game will go.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like close game, down by 4. You have a person who you have your star player who's had the hot hand and the reason why you're so deep into this game down the stretch. Why would you take him out the game for? He still has the high hand. He still could get it going. He's the leading captain of this whole comeback, of this whole potential comeback. Why let him go at that point? Especially with 3 to 4 minutes. Look, 3 to 4 minutes may not be that much time in reality, but in the basketball game, that's a whole lot of time. That's like that. It feels like 3 to 4 minutes in a basketball game could feel like 3 to 4 hours in regular time. I swear. and you just take him out the game. That made no sense. You have to be more wise or with the decisions and the management and stuff that you're doing when it comes down to especially big time games like this, because this is a potential finals matchup.
Yeah, I'm in 100% agree with you. I don't understand this decision. You're taking out your leading scorer in the game. You took him out, and in the end of the game, he still finished leading the team in scoring.
Exactly.
So you took him out for that. Not only taking your leading scorer out, it's also taking one of your best defenders out as well. I just don't understand that. Where's the come on, where's the integrity? I understand administration, but you got to do that before the fourth. You've got to do that before the fourth quarter hits.
Exactly.
I don't understand that, Ty Lue. But nonetheless, it was the Nets winning this game and continuing their streak. They are on a 6-game winning streak, and they finished 5-0 on their road Western Conference road trip.
Yes.
And they've done a lot of this without Kevin Durant. So think about that. This team is dangerous.
Deadly.
All right. A few other games that happened around the league. So anything that you want to go over, anything that you want to talk about?
Yeah. Okay. So first game I'm gonna go into is the Wolves versus Knicks, and let's just say,
Save that.
Okay, I'll save that one. I'll save that one.
Matter of fact,
you want that one? You want that one?
We can talk about that after the other games you want to talk about.
Okay. All right. So let me go into the next game. Sixers versus Raptors. Let's just say okay, so it started off in which, like, the 76ers had a good lead in the first quarter, then the Raptors came and bounced back. And then it was just like, a back and forth exchange second quarter, in which, like, Philadelphia was also able to make a run going into halftime. And then also in the third quarter, they had much of the lead for the third quarter. And then all of a sudden, the Raptors just came out of nowhere. And specifically because of one player, Chris Boucher. They were down, and Chris Boucher just started letting it go from three. I think he had like 3 or 4 threes in that fourth quarter. Majority of his points came in the fourth quarter. Majority of his points, he's finished with 17, but majority probably like 12 to 15 points came in that fourth quarter. He just had it going. He's the main reason, and he's the main reason for this Raptors comeback late down there. But also, good game by Fred VanVleet, Siakam, 23 apiece, just doing it so well. I believe M.O.B had a good game. He was in double-digit scoring. And Powell was also he had 11. He contributed well, but just good comeback win by the Raptors. Philadelphia, and even though Ben Simmons had a good game too, Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid did what they had to do. Joel had 25 and 17.
Yeah, but he struggled a lot throughout the game.
Yeah, and he
that's
had
credit to the Raptors defense. It's almost like they played him before. I'm not sure. Maybe in like an important
don't
series or something. I'm not sure.
Don't do that.
But
yeah, but let's talk about Ben Simmons. Actually, I love to talk about his play because he was doing what we like to see him do, which he has been doing as of recently. He's been playing with more aggression, more of that beast mentality, in which he feels like nobody could stop him on both ends of the floor. Okay, he probably didn't show that much on the defensive end, but on the offensive end,
but keep going.
But on the offensive end, he was just being a monster. Again, 28 points. His instincts on both ends of the floor was just amazing. So I give him that.
But nonetheless, it was the Raptors taking the win against the Sixers, doing what they do best, beating the Sixers. But on the speaking of the Raptors, they are on a 4-game winning streak. And by the way, for the first time this season, the Toronto Raptors are over 500. They've come a long way this season, playing like the Raptors that we are used to seeing them play like.
So they finally like that Florida weather, huh?
Mm-hmm. And with the loss to the Celtics, they are now the 5th seed. So yeah, good win by this Raptors team, and they've been playing great basketball as of late.
Yeah. All right. The next game that I like to talk about is the Hawks versus Nuggets, and once again it started off back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then all of a sudden the Hawks just caught fire. From the in the second and third quarter, actually for majority of the game, actually from that point, from the end of the second all the way to throughout the second half, they just caught fire, like from transition points to throwing up lobs, passing, shooting. Like it was just all going on, and it was all led by their star, of course, Trae Young, who I believe finished with 32, 15, and 15 assists, just doing what he usually does. Capella had a double-double with 22 and 10. John Collins had a double-double with 12 and 10. And even though the Nuggets, Jamal Murray was just amazing with what he could do with the ball in his hands. Like, you know what I mean? Finished with 30 on the game. But like, yet, even though he dropped 30, it didn't really matter because, like, the Hawks were just up by big time for majority of this game. It was just like, there was no, and even though it looked like they wanted to make a run, it was just no chance for the Nuggets to really come back into this game at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And the Hawks were able to take it 123 to 115.
Yep, good win by the Hawks team, trying to get back into that play-in area as they've been struggling late, but hopefully maybe they can use this win, get back on the right track.
Yeah.
Well, all right, now let's talk about the Knicks and the Timberwolves game. Tom Thibodeau going up against his former team that he just coached last year, and this was a good game. The Knicks looked like they had it early.
Yeah.
Jumped out to an early lead. All Knicks starters in double digits. All of them had really good scoring games. Really contributed well. I think Julius Randle really got them going like early in that first part. He was the last starter to score.
Yeah.
So but they got out to a lead. They were up 20 in the third quarter. The Knicks.
Yes, they were.
Against this Timberwolves team. And then the start of the fourth quarter hit. It was like a new team. And that is in part mainly due to one man, Karl Anthony Towns. He did everything for that Timberwolves team, getting them back to that game. And when I mean everything, I mean everything. He was a floor general, making plays on with passing the ball, getting his teammates open looks, having them open, finding them for open shots. On the defensive side, being defensive anchor. I mean, he was swatting everything that RJ Barrett every time he went to the oh man. Really good defense by him, and of course the scoring. Scoring. He was dominant, and the Knicks really had no answer for him. And Cat at his best is one of the best in terms of skill, one of the best players in the league. At his best.
That's no question. That's no question.
And we saw that last night. But in the end, the Knicks had a 1-point lead due to Julius Randle getting free throws because he was fouled. And so Karl Anthony Towns, of course, they gave him the ball on Taj Gibson. A good move, a good spin move. And he had an open look, and he hit everything throughout the entire night, but that just couldn't go in for him. As a result, Knicks get the rebound, hit their free throws, and they was able to beat the Timberwolves. Shockingly.
Yeah.
Well, not shockingly, but beat them so bad that they fired their coach.
You want to go into more detail with that?
Of course, let's switch to that then. The news from last night, transitioning to that. After the Knicks beat the Timberwolves, after the Timberwolves loss, Flip Saunders' son, late Flip Saunders' son, Ryan Saunders, was fired as a head coach from the Timberwolves. It looked like they already found his replacement. Toronto Raptors assistant coach Chris Finch. I believe that is a rumor for now, not official, but it looked like
Yeah.
that is going to be their next head coach of the Timberwolves. And what do you think of this move, firing Ryan Saunders?
Well, as a young talented team that they are, I don't know what true direction the Timberwolves are going in. So say this, I felt like that was a good coach for them a little bit though, because I felt like he was more of a player coach, like he could connect with them in a way, in certain ways that probably certain other coaches couldn't. But it's a business at the end of the day, and the Timberwolves had to do what they had to do in order to try to progress to finding something better. So at this point, it's an unfortunate, but they had to do what they had to do. The Wolves had to do what they had to do, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, I don't. I mean, the Timberwolves been battling injuries for like the past 2 years.
Yeah,
So I don't know what he could have done. Yes, they got talent. Yes, they got Malik Beasley and Anthony Edwards, and obviously Cat's back. But it's hard when you have all these lineups changing so much. So your
exactly,
game plan is changing so much. I mean, especially when your two best players have only played 5 games together
exactly.
in 2 years. So I mean, what can he really do? Uh, so I don't really understand, but
Nothing much. There's nothing much that could really be done.
uh, maybe the Timberwolves just seeing that they got a lot of offensive talent and he wasn't using them right, and they could have been better than they are. So
Yeah.
we'll see how his replacement does if it is Chris Finch at as it's reported to be. But yeah, we'll just see. In other news, apparently this is weird, but last night's podcast we had said that DeMarcus Cousins and Houston Rockets were parting ways, and that looked to be like it, as everybody else reported it too. But apparently, Steven Silas, head coach of the Houston Rockets, came out and said those are just rumors. It's just rumors at this point. I believe that is a quote from him.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with the situation over there.
Look, it probably is something that he doesn't know, but probably somebody higher up in the organization is probably doing something that that's not coming down to him, which is iffy because that's how certain organizations have been moving as of recently. So to me, it could be a rumor, but also it's probably something deep in the organization that they just probably not trying to get to the head coach or the players.
Yeah, maybe they wanted to hold on to it. Maybe Cousins will still part ways with them, but they didn't
Yeah.
want to release it right now. We don't know as of right now. Apparently, that's just a rumor, but we'll give you updates on anything that's happening in Houston.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is that. But all right, all of that out the way. It is prediction time for tonight's set of games. Uh, seems to be only what 6 games for tonight.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they will be interesting and entertaining. So let's get to it. First, starting off with the Bulls or the Rockets. Who you got?
Rockets.
Bulls. The Grizzlies or the Mavericks?
Mavs.
Mavs. The Heat or the Thunder?
Heat.
Heat. Your dark horse up against my dark horse. The Trailblazers or the Suns?
Suns.
Suns as well. The Hornets or the Jazz coming off the loss against the
Mavs.
Clippers? Jazz. And lastly, the only primetime game for the night due to postponement of all these Spurs games is the Washington Wizards up against defending champions Los Angeles Lakers. Who you got?
This is the Wizards game to win. The Lakers don't have their second big star, and they've been struggling due to it. So yeah.
I'm in agreement with you, but I understand the Wizards won 4 straight. I'm still not ready to believe in them yet. I want to see more. So I got the Lakers.
I can understand that.
Yeah, they've been embarrassing up until this point. So, but all right, I think it's time to wrap things up. Any final thoughts?
Just quickly, I just want to say Cat has been balling, and I really wish that if he went started the season and it was nothing hindering him or anything, like I felt like right along. I you know what? Forget all that. I just can't wait for him and B to go at it. I just can't wait for him and B to go at it.
I mean, M.B to go at it when they play in the regular season, if they're even going to play. See,
Yeah,
didn't they
because
already
those are
play?
I don't know. I don't know if they
Timberwolves and the Sixers.
I believe so, but I could be wrong. I need to look back.
I would need to look back to.
But like just like what you said, just like what you said about Cat, him and Embiid are two of the most skilled bigs that we have in our game today. And just like what you say, Cat skill wise, when he's on a different level, he's like he's the best in the world, or like best in the world in terms of big men. So like I just can't wait to see that matchup because Embiid has been playing at an MVP, well, at an MVP like level this whole season,
Mm-hmm.
and that has just been straight up balling. I just want to see that matchup again. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they haven't played yet, so they will down the line.
Okay.
And yeah, that will be an interesting matchup. We'll be on the lookout for that. But for now, thank you guys for watching today's pod. Make sure to tune into tomorrow's podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Also follow IG down in the description below.
And once again, I'm Evan.
Namja.
And this was the Mind of Basketball Podcast.